Stop. Let go. A voice, like a scream, resonated across the air. I followed the sound, heading toward the voice. I observed a woman. No, a girl, being held by her arm by someone in a black tracksuit. On closer scrutiny, I saw she was wearing a school uniform. Hey, knock it off. I shouted as I went toward the two, firmly making him let go of the high school girl. He clicked his tongue and rushed away. Though the girl was saved, I ended up being terribly late for an important meeting. A few days later, when I went to the office, I was summoned to the CEO's office. Frank, I'm thinking of sending you to one of our regional offices starting tomorrow. Even though I was late because I helped someone, the corporation was going to penalize me. Is this a demotion? I inquired. Well, you can take it that way if you want. We can't have destructive staff here at the headquarters. You understand, right? With that stated, I gave my brightest smile. It's perfect. Thank you. You can fire me instead of demoting me. What? My statements left the CEO in absolute disbelief. My name is Frank. I work for a medical device manufacturer. Ever since I was in elementary school, after my father went away from illness, I was reared in a single-mother family. I wanted to help people like my father. Even though I had the grades to go to medical school, due to financial constraints, I devoted myself to studying and extracurricular activities. I opted to work directly after high school. Although I couldn't be a doctor, I was determined to be active in the medical area and focused on job hunting there. Getting a career in the medical industry with only a high school diploma was tough. My first pick was a well-known local medical device business called Johnson Manufacturing, but I ended up at another medical device manufacturer that had dealings with them. It wasn't Johnson Manufacturing, but it was a pretty substantial company, and I was honestly happy to have landed a job in the medical industry, which was my dream. Frank, I got an offer from Johnson Manufacturing. I'll never forget the smile on Mike's face when he ran up to tell me that. I had a classmate named Mike. Like me, he grew up in a single-mother household, and after high school, he intended to work in the medical sector, so we job hunted together. With that time, Mike acquired a position with Johnson Manufacturing, which I had long loved. Really? Good for you. I stated that to Mike, but deep down, I felt a sting of jealousy. When I was getting rejection notices, Mike was getting job offers. I felt like I couldn't compete with him, but deep inside, I wanted to surpass him somehow. 3 years went by since I joined the company straight out of high school. I got the hang of my job around this time, and a gentleman named Jake became the manager of my department. Manager Jake, who came soon after college, was decent at his work, and people both in and outside the organization spoke well of him. But behind the scenes, he looked down on me for being from a single-parent household and not having a college degree. Hey, do you really think Frank, a high school grad from a single mom's home, can handle such an important task? Jake would say this regularly, whispering so only I could hear. It was quite aggravating. Although it's true that I come from such a home and didn't go to college, I never reacted. But Jake seemed to take my silence as approval, criticizing me regularly. I tried not to let it affect me, but enduring it day after day was hard. One evening, I decided to bring Mike out for drinks at our normal bar. While I was raving about Jake and our firm, Mike just quietly sipped his drink. Despite being with the company for the same amount of time as me, Mike had already become the youngest department leader in Johnson Manufacturing's history. The organization has a major focus on cultivating young talents. I envied him, considering how we both had comparable backgrounds, but he had climbed the corporate ladder so much faster only because he joined a different business. Man, you are so lucky, becoming a department head, I said, a bit inebriated. Mike responded, Frank, do you realize how much time you waste just talking and complaining? What? I asked, bewildered. Instead of doing this, you should focus on your work and act. That's how I got where I am. I plan on climbing even higher. With that, Mike collected the bill and departed the pub. I mumbled, what's with him? However, I knew what Mike stated was accurate. Even when I whined like Wei, time continued to march on. He probably spent these kinds of moments thinking about work. This made me realize I need to step up my game if I want to move up too. But I thought something was odd about Mike's demeanor. Back in high school, when we were job hunting, he had this true spark in his eyes. We used to motivate one another by saying, "Let's give it our all, no matter what happens." Now, there was a slightly menacing vibe about him. One day, I was heading to the office. We had a huge meeting planned up with a potential client introduced to us by one of our trusted partners. Everyone in the department was excited, along with the CEO, thinking that they would be able to gain a new business partner. The crew for this meeting included me, manager Jake, and our CEO. As I proceeded, I suddenly heard a woman's voice from a nearby alley, shouting, "Let go of me." Then a voice that practically yelled, "Let go," proceeded. I ran towards the voice and noticed a man in a black tracksuit clutching a girl's arm. On closer inspection, she was in a school uniform. "Come on." "No, let me go." "Hey, stop it." I raced over and pulled the girl away from him. The person clicked his tongue in irritation and rushed away. I was more concerned about the girl than chasing him. "Thank you so much for helping me." Looking at her, I realized she wore the uniform of a famous local school. "Are you okay?" "Yes. I was just walking when he suddenly grabbed me. I don't know how to thank you." I continued to soothe the visibly scared girl. After calming her down, I advised she phone someone trustworthy to pick her up. She answered, "My ride will be here soon." When I told her, "I'll stay with you until they come," she appeared relieved. We then proceeded to the main street, and while conversing, her cell phone's notification sound came out. It seemed like the person picking her up was nearby. Well, I thought of getting to work, but then she added, "I really want to thank you. Can we trade contact information? Please, you helped me very lot. I truly want to thank you properly." Honestly, the concept of me, a grown man, exchanging numbers with a high school girl felt a bit weird. Besides, getting thanked by a high school girl. I hesitated. But as I had to hurry to work, I decided to just hand her my business card. "Here's my card, but seriously, don't worry about today." "Wait, this company is." Anyway, got to go. I hurriedly left the scene. Of course, by the time I got to work, I was terribly late and ready to be reprimanded. When I arrived, the CEO and Jake were discussing. The moment they saw me, Jake screamed, "Frank, why are you late on such an important day?" I had some circumstances. I'm sincerely sorry. I bowed, but the CEO seemed disturbed. "Frank, since Jake and I will handle things today, you should head home." "Home? But why?" "Do you really expect us to trust someone who's late on such an important day? Just go home. Be ready to lose your job." I mean, okay, I was late. But, "Frank, please think about your actions for a bit." Getting shouted at by a red-faced Jake, I handed over the business documents I'd created to them and basically quit the company. I might be fired at this pace. From my point of view, I had just done what any decent person would. However, to the CEO and Jake, who didn't know the circumstances, I was just some person who came in late. Even if I described in detail, I wasn't sure they believed me. The fact that I'd been prompt without any absences up until now might have made this tardiness extra noteworthy in the CEO's perspective. Lost in my thoughts at home, my work phone rang. The incoming number wasn't registered, but believing it may be work-related, I answered. "Hello?" "Frank speaking." "Is this Frank?" "I'm the girl you assisted earlier." I recognized the lovely voice and immediately thought of the high school girl. "Oh, from earlier. Thank you very lot for helping me." "No worries. Did you get home safely?" "Yes, I met up with the person picking me up soon after and got home safely." "That's good. Just be careful. Okay." "Okay." As I was ready to cancel the phone, she said, "Wait, are you at your office right now?" "No, I'm at home." "Then, I'd really like to come over to thank you." She sounded excited. "Really? It's okay. I merely did what anyone would have." But then she responded, "My dad really wants to thank you in person." Your dad. If it's all right, may we come to your place right now? Although I hesitated, it felt that if her dad was insisting, refusing further may just lead to a never-ending loop. So I agreed. After revealing my address and ending the contact, around an hour later, my doorbell rang. Opening the door, I noticed a middle-aged man in a black suit. I thought for sure the high school girl would be there, so I said in a dumb voice, "Huh. Are you Frank?" "Yes, that's me." "Please wait while I call for her in the car," he added as he opened the door to the back seat of a high-class black car that you would never see in a residential area around here. The high school girl and a dignified-looking man in a suit stepped out. Just the man's presence transformed the mood, making me instinctively straighten up. Where have I seen this dude before? I invited them in, saying, "Please come in," feeling delighted I'd spent an hour cleaning. I served them some coffee. "Frank, I'm sorry for the sudden visit." "It's fine. I just didn't expect you'd come all the way here. My dad really wanted to thank you." She stared at the man beside her. "I knew it. He's her father. Thank you for helping my daughter. I'm sincerely grateful." The man bowed. "No, I'm simply glad your daughter is safe. I never believed she would be targeted. I'm sorry for the trouble." The man quickly handed me his business card. When I took it and stared, my eyes expanded, and I let out a shocked, "Ha!" On it was a name I hadn't expected at all. The next day, as soon as I went to work, I was called into the CEO's office. As I approached, to my astonishment, Jake was with the CEO. Then the CEO told me I was being transferred to a regional sales branch. "Frank, starting tomorrow, I'm thinking of having you go to the regional branch." CEO, is this a demotion? Well, you can take it that way if you want. We can't maintain difficult staff at the headquarters. Please understand. Hearing those comments, I displayed my finest smile. That's perfect. Thank you. Instead of a demotion, you can just terminate me. What? The CEO's eyes became wide at my statements. Smiling, I grabbed an envelope out of my bag. Let me know if you'd like further modifications. Actually, I've been thinking of resigning. Here's my resignation letter. Resigning? Yes, I've already secured my next job. Where are you? Before he could finish, I interrupted. There's someone here who'd like to meet the CEO. I then opened the door and let the individual in. The CEO and Jake were once again in disbelief. Mr. Johnson. Yes, this man was the CEO of Johnson Manufacturing. The high school student I helped yesterday turned out to be Lisa, the only daughter of the CEO of Johnson Manufacturing, whom I had always liked. He came to show his gratitude personally. Even though Lisa is still in high school, she's in line to be the next CEO of Johnson Manufacturing. So, he was sincerely happy that I helped his only daughter and future CEO. Lisa thanked me multiple times. My daughter brought me your business card, and when I saw the firm name, it felt familiar. Here, I'd like to extend our business with the company you're working for. Of course, I'd expressly like you to be in charge. I appreciate the offer, but the thing is. I then detailed the events of today, explaining that I might get fired. After hearing this, Co. Johnson requested if I might accompany him to the workplace the next day. I heard you're thinking of letting such a great employee go. What on earth are you thinking? That's why I brought him with me today. Neither the COO nor Jake could keep their tongues shut at the appearance of Co. Johnson, whom they had not expecting. But this Frank has shown poor professionalism. Just the other day, he was late. That's why we were thinking of this relocation. He was late yesterday because he was helping my daughter when she was in trouble. But what about his purported poor professionalism? Well, he tends to slack off and supposedly takes credit for others' work. Did you see this yourself? No. Jake reported it to me. Right. The co glanced at Jake, who shuffled uncomfortably, mumbling, "Well, you see." Do you really believe he'd act like that? No. Frank has always been a hard-working guy since he joined. Then why judge him this way and plan to demote him? Are you thinking of relocating Frank based only on hearsay? The CEO squirmed, evidently uncomfortable. Co Johnson sighed. It's unfortunate Frank isn't being evaluated fairly. If this is how you feel, I think he'd be a fantastic fit in our headquarters. And so, I quit my old job and began working for Johnson Manufacturing, a place I had long respected. Lisa was happy, and Mike threw me a friendly challenge. You won't, how do me? There's a huge difference in scale and staffing between my prior company and Johnson Manufacturing, so I knew I had to give it my all to keep up. Every day was a grind. A few months later, the guy who assaulted me got arrested. Lisa cried out to me, "Really? Who was he?" "Some 20-year-old guy I've never met." "You don't know him?" "No. I viewed the images, but I've never seen that guy before." The authorities also seemed to infer that the offender was just following orders from someone. Someone? Who could it be? He said he got the job offer in DM after posting on social media about being willing to do anything for money. He's never met the individual who provided him the instructions, and they solely spoke over social media. That suggests there is a mastermind behind the attack on Lisa. I pondered if it might have been a competing company, but I couldn't come up with anyone like that. Time passed quickly, and both Mike and I continued to work at Johnson Manufacturing. I got promoted and became department head. Meanwhile, Mike made even more achievements, becoming an executive. Ever since I started here, I've been surprised at Mike's ability. The CEO has always been fond of Mike's work and knowledge. Now Mike has become somewhat of a right-hand guy to the co. I also endeavor to stay up with him, working hard every day. Lisa graduated from high school and enrolled at a public institution. She's now in her final year and is expected to join Johnson Manufacturing next year. She's informed us about her resolve to work hard. For now, she's enjoying her final year in college. In fact, Lisa and I have become rather close. Once she started coming to the workplace, we naturally began to engage more, and it didn't take long for us to get along well. Of course, we started dating after she graduated high school. I was thinking how amazing it would be if I could help her in both her personal and professional life. But then, one day, I got a phone claiming Lisa had been attacked again. During the onslaught, Lisa fought back ferociously. In the process, she was shoved by the assailant, collapsed, and broke her arm. But the uproar drew attention, and the perpetrator was caught on the scene. To my horror, the offender turned out to be Jake. My former firm, which I had left, had earned a negative reputation for the CEO's misjudgments and had lost many of its clients. Though not bankrupt, the corporation has severely downsized. Jake was laid off, blamed for the company's failing reputation. He was striving to make ends meet with odd jobs. Then someone offered him a bundle of cash and ordered him to attack someone. He was promised that if he succeeded, he might even receive a position with Johnson Manufacturing. So he attacked Lisa. Soon after this revelation, a cop came in front of Mike and me. "Mike, we'd like you to come to the station with us." Mike went with the cops and didn't return back that day. Mike got arrested. It turns out that Mike was the one who urged Jake to assault Lisa, and was the one who had earlier asked him to attack Lisa in a back alley. "I really wanted to become the CEO of Johnson Manufacturing," he stated. "Why did you do it?" I asked when I visited him. "If you become CEO, you'll get a lot of money, right?" Mike's family owned a modest business. His father had grown unwell and couldn't get good care because they didn't have enough money. I remembered Mike lamenting this over cocktails one. If Lisa was out of the picture, I could have become the CEO. And it's true, if Lisa hadn't been scheduled to take over, Mike would have been the most likely choice. He was that good. With more money, I could have everything, he added with a sneer. I couldn't feel sympathy for the man in front of me, having done what he did for such selfish reasons. I never saw Mike again after that visit. A few years later, Lisa became CEO, and I currently work as an executive. With Lisa's youthful ideas, Johnson Manufacturing has evolved into a major medical device company. Our revenues are rising, and the company is booming. Lisa and I got married and now have 3 children. We're enjoying a very happy life, with both our job and home life going smoothly. Even now, I always think about how things could have been different if Mike hadn't gone down that route. But he made his choices. He had plenty of time to rethink them. But I'll never forgive him for harming Lisa for his selfish needs. Every time I see Lisa smiling, I'm sincerely thankful she's safe. I feel it's my obligation to mentor my subordinates and children, so they never make choices as Mike did. I hope they'll grow up to aid people in need. Who knows? They might take a major shift in their life just like mine.